Hello, 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 and welcome to Bitches with Beards. And on today's episode, I asked a question. When a Republican watches Andor, do they ever go, wait, are we the villain?
You stupid bitch, there isn't going to be a house.
We're the podcast that attempts to break down culture with all the elegance of two coastal grandmas.
But in truth, we're just a couple of bitches with beards.
I'm Max.
And I'm Daniel.
And we're live from the Dan Keating podcast studio in Haberdashery.
And we both have opinions, so let's get this party started.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. There you go. There was not much of a...
There was no clank.
Oh, God, I'm just trying to drink because the temperature shot up today.
It was almost 90. It was almost 90 before my birthday, and I'm like, no, thank you. No.
It's been up and down. Then we had storm. Then you got trapped in a CVS, didn't you? That was exciting.
I literally was crossing you in Florida and Georgia as the bottom fell out, and I ran into CVS, and I was texting you. I'm like, I'm taking shelter in CVS. It passed within like 5 minutes, but I was. It
came down because it went dark, and I pretty much I was standing in the office at the back, and it gone dark, and then as I was walking through the apartment, which doesn't take long, like the thunder started, and the hubs went, "Oh God!" And I went, "Yeah, heavy thunder." He goes, "No, look," and the rain literally in the space of it had gone.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Oh, 20.
And we're back. We are in preparation for tomorrow. My mother-in-law arrives, and the house is being cleaned, and we are washing stuff, and stuff is getting summarized, and that
Switched
includes,
out, yeah.
Hey Birdie, Buddy's bed, and on top of it. So his bed is being washed. So there's a bit of foam where his bed is, and he's now trying to escape everywhere in the house.
Well, I was about to say he's got a little bit of independence in him and just started going up the stairs, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, we don't have the dog up the stairs because he is old. Buddy, just lie on the floor for a little bit, bud. He's now trapped with us in here. Anyway, Daniel, how's your week been?
My week, well, let's see. Last Saturday, I did a very nice urban hike in northwest DC. I was in the area of Friendship Heights, and then walked all the way towards the cathedral and all the way back home. 7.5 miles at least to Meridian Hill. I think it was like 8.5 miles by the time all was said and done.
Very nice.
It was a very nice weekend. I made the mistake of being on Massachusetts Avenue on Embassy Day and forgetting that it was Embassy Day.
Yeah.
That was a clusterfuck.
I completely forgot. Usually there's like a bigger deal on social media for it, and it kind of... It's when, if those who don't live in DC, for that when they open all the embassies up and you can go and have a snoop about, but the bigger ones have lines.
Well, it was rather interesting. So I was coming down Mass, I guess around 2 o'clock or so, and the British Embassy was closed tight. There was no one there. Danish Embassy had a 2-block line, but that was the only one that really had any like line going on. But it was a disaster, and everyone was like sort of walking their way uphill towards it, and I was just like, okay, just get me out of here. Too many people.
No.
Too many people.
No, like we haven't done it, I don't think, since COVID.
The last time I did it was the year before COVID.
Yeah. I think I was still working in the restaurants when I did it. I remember I think we went one morning and then I afterwards went straight into the restaurant. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really neat because they open it up and they're like, here's some touristy things that, you know, we're trying to get the tourism to come to the country. Or here's an export, or try a dish, or learn how to dance. I remember that at the Argentine embassy, like, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Because they had, like, tango lessons. Very nice and a good way of getting, like, connected and linked in. However, not gonna lie, it was all like Georgetown co-eds that were like drunk off of their ass, like lining up for the Danish embassy, and I was just like, please get me out of here.
The British embassy's pretty good, but there's a long, like, you have to get there like for early doors on that one.
Yeah, and like I said, they were not open at all. Like, were not open.
Don't they split it, or?
I think they, let me put it this way, in years past they split it, where it's like some one weekend, some the other. And maybe the British Embassy is going to be open this weekend. I don't know, or maybe it was open the weekend before. But
yeah, they sold a lot of British sweets and chocolate and stuff like that, which was nice.
Yeah. Anyways, how was your week?
Yeah, we're still sort of in the middle of it. We are at a nice coffee with the lovely Frida on Wednesday, trying to kick some ass into this job hunt because it's really kind of going. nowhere. You know, I mean, making some progress with some of the freelancing stuff and setting some stuff up, but no, it's generally we're halfway through now, and it's getting very frustrating.
I'm sorry, dear.
Yeah, but and then we ended up kind of stuck in on Saturday with the air conditioner and getting fixed, and Daniel caught the wrath of me in the hubs, and then the next day he finally finished up. It must have been about 4 or 5. It was just, and it was I mean, for me, I'm never bored, so I say never bored, but I've always got something I can get on with, and so I was able to
entertain yourself.
Yeah, so I got most of the podcast done and all that, and then like the next day he's like, I'll send someone over to pick up the part, and it's easy to get the part down because the old one, because it just has to be dismantled. Mm-hmm. And I messaged, and if for anyone listening thinking I'm being a bit elitist and stuff, we were kind of getting to this point of like, this had been taking for so fucking long to do, and I said to him, I don't want anyone in the house after midday. I have a phone call, and it was with my parents, mm-hmm. who I've not spoken to since my seizure, and they wanted to make sure I was okay, and they had some business they wanted to talk to me about. Mm-hmm. So that was at 12, which is 5 o'clock their time, mm-hmm. and at 12:30 the guy's son arrives to pick stuff up, and then and we tried to get some bits sorted, and I had to put the phone down on my parents, and then we were moving some stuff about, and I was wearing my new shirt and it got snagged, and it's not like ruined, but you can if you don't know it's there, well, you don't see it, but mm-hmm. I just lost it, and I just walked out of the house and just went for a 5-hour walk, and it was like
fair enough.
Yeah, and the house was not best happy when I got back, but it was just one of those, I couldn't quite, I was kind of done, we're trying our best at the moment, and I kind of just said I'm over kind of picking up people's mess. This guy has been so fucking rude, our aircon guy, and he's a nice guy, but it's always excuse, and mm-hmm. we're like, it was always, I'll be there at 3. I'm like, it's way too late to start doing air conditioning on the roof,
right?
And
if you're not there first thing in the morning, like, no.
Yeah, and he's like, well, it's going to be a 5-hour job. I'm going to turn up at 5. Well, at 3, and I'm like, well, the sun's going to go down during that time.
Yeah, I mean, the math is not mathing for the sun to be up.
Yeah, so that was really it. So I feel like we've got mother-in-law arriving tomorrow. So I think things are going to get better. It's getting to a little bit of a point where something has to move. Mm-hmm. And, we're sort of calling out some bullshit on people trying to help. And some people are trying to help, and some really need to step up if they want to try and help me. But we will make it work. We're away next weekend. So I've got a few days to get some stuff in motion, and then we shall see.
I also think a break from DC is going to do you a little bit of good.
Oh, hells yes. But anyway, talking about having a break, should we go wander around Ina's garden?
We should go wander around Ina's garden. It's right over there. Sorry, I was about to be like, where did I put it? I know I got one out for you. I'm so sorry. So this evening we're having a Klosthaler, a non-alcoholic brewing. It's a grapefruit, so it's in the style of Kolsch. To me, grapefruit is summer. It's a flavor I love.
I can't really taste a bit, but at the same time, it cuts the sweetness that you can get with a grapefruit. So actually, I kind of like it for that reason.
Yeah. It's one of these, I definitely do not taste the beer at all.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, Matt, you could definitely cut it with your gin.
It's definitely like got a lovely flavour to it. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a less candy grapefruit drink.
Yeah. But it still gives you that flavor. Of course, like I said, I've been on grapefruit kick recently, so it's,
Someone's not got medication.
Well, not heart medication, at least.
Well, that's delicious. And so I think I should take it with me as we move on to the news.
Yes, let's.
What is going on in this week in gay news?
This is the portion of the podcast where we talk about things that are gay adjacent, or just a little bit camp.
The first one, I wasn't sure whether or not. I was like, is it actually news? But they are going to do a Wicked Live.
I was on the fence on this one. I also, as soon as I read it, which is why I didn't cover it, was just like, so why are we doing this after we're releasing the big musical itself on film? Like, why are we doing the live on stage version?
I guess it's because it sounds like it's coming out before.
It is, but it was just like...
It's coming out before part 2, Wicked for Good.
Right, but I'm just like,
yeah.
but they can just watch it in theater. Like, yeah.
It's a promotional thing, isn't it? But it's very like, well, Wicked Live, isn't that just going to the Broadway show?
Yeah.
You know what? It always fascinates me when you watch stuff like this, when you think, how are they going to pad it? And they pad it. And you know there's going to be like the faux red carpet at the start of it. And it's... Yeah, I remember a few years back they did something like this for like these soap opera EastEnders in England, and it was a whole one of their anniversaries, and it's like, EastEnders, this night's for you, and it was all them. I kind of felt like it was a busman's holiday, like they were working. They it was like,
yeah. It's like, are we going to get all the former Alphabas and all the former Galindas to be there? You know, I don't know.
I mean that for me.
To recognize those that are typically not recognized, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping they do something. I mean, I think they will. I have to say that the reason that Wicked took off like it did, no pun intended, the reason it defied the cultural gravity.
Oh my gosh! Please, one more pun. Please, one more pun.
But the reason it did that, and it even made its way into Eurovision this week, and I'll explain how that happened when we talk about Eurovision. Because of the quality. That was the first thing that came out of the reviews, was it's better than it deserves to be.
Yeah,
I can see why they're doing it. I think it has become a cultural phenomenon. They're going to do it live. You're going to see them. You're going to see a concert version of the songs. Obviously, you know, it doesn't make sense for them to do it after, because that's when the film comes out. And I think the Oscars will probably... You'll see... I mean, they're still up... I mean, I think they didn't want them to win with the Oscars, because that means that story... is over, which is so that they're going to be up for part 2. Right,
and that drives sales, that drives audiences going to... It's part of the tension build-up. I understand that.
It just is... Again, it's very curious. I will watch it because I love all the music from it. Mm-hmm. I think we will... I think they're going to do it very well. I think it's going to be like the RuPaul's finale, isn't it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll finally do the Wicked Witch of the East, for heaven's sakes.
They won't do it there because they're going to do a couple of songs from that.
Oh my god! Like the one song. Well,
it's going to be on. I think it's going to be on the album. I think that's going to be.
Yeah.
But I think that's a clever marketing thing. So for those that don't know, the Wicked Witch of the East is a song that's in Wicked, but is commonly forgotten about. Mm-hmm. I can't even think of the melody, even though I've seen the show 4 times, because it's not on the album. And the reason it's not on the album is because it gives too many spoilers.
Which I disagree with that.
But also, I've never heard that logic with a cast album before.
Never heard the logic before with a cast album. It plays a riff off of We Deserve Each Other.
Yeah.
Or that line, that phrase that she sings, We deserve each other.
So... Yeah. It's going to be, and I think that's going to be because that's the other thing. Oh, we're talking about Wicked again. Oh my god, we're back. But the reason that Wicked was such a cultural bit, because you had this whole, and I think the only time I've really had this done recently is Hairspray, which probably wasn't recently, it's about 15 years ago now.
I was going to say, that is not that recently, dear.
In regards to that, the soundtracks became sort of, there was never really any like, oh no, you don't listen to the movie version, you'd have to listen to the original.
It was sort of interchangeable. You could listen to either one of them.
And I think if Wicked was the people didn't expect that they would actually want to listen to the movie version as much as they did. So I see the point. I mean, we've already been speaking about this now for probably close to almost 5 minutes, and we're like, why are they doing this? But the gays are still here going, I don't know why they're doing this. My thought is, I hope they don't do For Good. I don't want to know what For Good sounds like.
They don't need to do For Good at all. They need to save that for part 2.
Because that's the final song, and it's important you get the raw, like the oomph of it, because otherwise I think possibly you'll get, I mean, they're probably going to do maybe not No Good Deeds. Maybe As Long As You're Mine.
I was going to say As Long As You're Mine or Thank Goodness.
Yeah.
They'll do either one of those. And I'm fine with either of them. Fine. Yeah.
No, I think, Well, anyway, that's not news, but actually, it is news. What is also news is Bridgerton has been renewed for seasons 5 and 6 to be released in 2050 and then 2165.
Oh, darn it. I'm going to miss it.
They're taking so long.
They are taking so long, but also it is monumental because the rumor was that they were going to end it.
I never heard this rumor.
So the rumor that was going around was that 4 could have been it. That they were going to try and truncate Eloise and Benedict's stories into one, but now it looks like
Eloise is the one that got married in the last one, isn't it? Did she get married in the last one?
Francesca. Yeah,
but Francesca's not done yet, is she? I know. I've heard what happens, but I heard what happens to kick off the next bit of it.
Yeah.
I think my So they've done. So this is the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many more kids have they got to do?
Francesca's married off, but she'll come back. There's Gregory, Hyacinth, and Eloise. They're 4.
4 more.
Yeah, 4 more.
Do you think 6 is going to be it in the end?
I think it could be.
Because I think otherwise it's going to really... Because they're releasing every 2 years as well, which is so long.
It's so long in between. And to not have a Queen Charlotte to be an in-between year, which they haven't, I don't see us extending this too much longer.
The only vibe I have is that with Eloise's... So does... Francesca's the one that just got married, isn't it?
Yeah, Francesca just got married.
Does she have her own book?
Yes.
So the first part of her story happens in someone else's book, I take it.
I believe so.
But then her actual story is its own book itself.
Yes.
Because the only vibe I have is that I like Eloise, but the character is not written for a love story. No. So I think it's going to take a book. It's going to take some focus on her, especially now her with Penn.
Yeah.
Sort of sorted. Is they can maybe start to sow the seeds of us thinking, okay, she's going to do it. But my other vibe is that she, her with a man is not kind of where we saw it.
So the interesting thing is Kit, who read the series and loved it, said, "This is the one time I want the books and the film series to deviate. Eloise needs to be with a woman."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I agree completely. She's like, it's not what happens in the books, but she needs to be. And I'm like, I get it.
Do you know if they're planning any more spin-offs? Or
I haven't heard any other spin-offs in the works.
Because the Queen Charlotte was a weird one in that it was
a prequel, but it could stand alone by itself.
Yeah, because it also... I like the fact it wrote out all the kids. One of her sons in it I worked with. He's a nice... the young... If you look at the photo of the cast, he's on the floor with his hair, on his... on that. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I worked with him on a homeless project.
Oh, very nice.
He was a friend of one of our young people at Exposure. So it wasn't like he was like an actor we brought in. He was a friend. He was a friend, and he's done really well. No, I mean, I love Bridgerton. It just, I kind of don't get the model on it, the business model on it at the moment.
I think part of it is the fact it came out of COVID. We didn't quite know what was going on here and there, and it's sort of messily worked along since then.
Yeah, it's just more the stretching of the years now. And I get that some of the younger kids were way too young for love stories, and whether or not that's it, we'll just see. I'm excited. I have a feeling...
Time will tell.
I have a feeling, though, they're going to start to merge the stories.
I think they have to. I think they'll at least lay the groundwork for Eloise this season, and then they'll either wrap it up at the beginning of next season, because book-wise, she is the next book.
And they're splitting it again, aren't they?
I think they're splitting it again. Why they're doing that just drives me effing crazy.
But... Okay, we haven't got much culture to talk about this week anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's fine. But again, I think the splitting, obviously, the raw data of it is they want to extend people's Netflix thing out,
which makes sense.
But I have personally, just me, no one else,
just you,
between White Lotus and Andor, seen
White Lotus,
how a staggered release has being White Lotus. It came out week by week.
Right.
That's and children. That's normal. For us old folk, that's how it happened.
Binging is not the norm. Despite how I tried to make it be. But it kept it, it was every week for 8 weeks. And then it was like, well, why are they, blah, 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 chat for 2 hours. But I don't know why they don't really sit all in one go the next week. That's why. And it worked. And it built theories. And the only thing it works against it is that you end up in the whole, you end up building up the ending, so there's a good chance that it's not going to meet the heights you've set for it. And then you miss it completely, and you're like, did not see that coming.
But then you take something like Andor, which works differently, but in a very genius way. So I'll talk about Andor in a minute. But even so Disney have a really naughty way of doing things. Naughty Disney.
Shame on Disney.
Is that they will binge release the first couple of episodes of something. Now, it used to be just a treat, and then suddenly there was some weird numbers started to appear, and they're going to do 4, that's a lot, and it's like, well, that's because that's when it doesn't kick off until the 4th episode, and they want to kick, and I'm like, why don't you just make sure the first
kick it off in the first episode?
Yeah, but Andor had a real, and I'll talk about it, and Andor's been. I know you're not a Disney Plus subscriber. You mainly get your Star Wars through me.
Right.
It has been way more in the lexicon because of the way they've delivered it and the 4-week period it's been over with.
The fact that NPR had an article on it means that it has.
Let's check that one out.
I think it was NPR that had an article. It might have been Washington Post, but I'm fairly certain it was NPR that had an article on it. So I'm like, it's arrived.
But I think that going back to Bridgerton, the 2-parter isn't enough to do that.
No, not at all, because typically it's been 4 episodes in each of the parts, which
is not quite enough.
Not quite enough. It means that you have to have a climax in the first part.
Well, she did, didn't she, in the back of the fucking carriage?
Well, she did, and listeners, I do apologize for using a phrase, but you have the climax in the first part, and it works, but you've got to make sure that there's still enough tension for the back half of the season, or it will fall apart, which they've done a good job so far. But some of these stories,
I'm also kind of wanting now the next one to not be. I mean, the thing is, the third season was interesting because it was the main character wasn't a Bridgerton in it,
right? It was Penn.
And so I didn't like the wedding went through, and then the first couple months or whatever of marriage was under tension. I just felt that kind of like. I was like, I liked it overall. Didn't say dislike it, but I was like, can we?
It could have been resolved before.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that there's more to. And I felt like, again, I felt they've treated the third season like she was a Bridgerton sister, getting it. And when you think of the first one, I can never remember her name. Daphne. She, again, the first few months of marriage was under a cloud. So let's not have another under a cloud for the women.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're selling the women short on that, because Anthony, it was just sort of like, it was tension build up, will they, won't they, and then there was resolution at the very end. And then they were married. So it was just like, there was none of that, ooh, we've gotten married and now we've got to navigate this marriage life. And no, there was none of that. So please, do it for everyone. Let them all have a happy ending.
Well, then moving through the next bits very quickly, because that's a lot of chat for me on that one. Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot as pilot has cast Ryan Kiera Armstrong in a lead role. It was announced on Instagram by Sarah Michelle Gellar in one of those really cute videos. She's obviously a young actor at the moment, so not a lot of people would know her, but she was the female lead in the recent Skeleton Crew Star Wars. She was excellent in that. There was a really good narrative arc for her character. I'm liking how they're casting more age appropriate, so we're seeing a lot more. It's going to be interesting to see how that dramatically shifts.
It's a teenager played by a teenager.
Michael J. Fox is joining Apple TV's Shrinking Season 3, which is a reunion between him and Bill Lawrence, who did Spin City. He has Parkinson's.
I don't remember if it's Parkinson's. It might be Parkinson's.
But one of the characters in it, the Harrison Ford character, has the same
disease.
So they're going to link that all together. So I think that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
And then finally, the L, which is the Legally Blonde prequel, has cast James Van Der Beek. The Dawson's Creek star will occur as the city's new mayoral candidate and current school district superintendent Dean Wilson. So it should be very interesting because he's in recovery at the moment.
Yeah,
so
cancer.
So, yeah. So that's exciting. So actually, I really do like him as an adult. He's very different from dear Dawson Leary, but in a good way.
I was going to say I think he's grown up.
Yeah, but he plays an element of smarm well, doesn't it? Like
he does.
You can still kind of root for him slightly, and I like that about him.
Right. He was good in the bitch in apartment. Whatever.
Don't trust to be. I loved him in that.
Like
James.
Like he played a good fictional version of himself in that one. I enjoyed watching him in that one.
Yeah. No, I loved that show. That should never have got cancelled.
Yeah, it was only 1 season, 2 seasons.
2,
yeah.
But it was one of those weird second seasons where it was full of weird episodes because they kind of saved them back and stuff. And
yeah.
Anyway, Daniel, what news have you got for me?
It's just for you, Max. Just for you. So, the new Ryan Murphy project, American Love Story, which will focus on the love between JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, has found their Jackie O and their JFK Jr. Naomi Watts is returning for her 4th collaboration with Ryan Murphy. All I'm going to say is Sarah Paulson's Sleep with One Eye Open.
Yeah.
Naomi's coming for you.
Was Sarah in The Swans?
No, she wasn't.
No.
She wasn't. She was not in The Swans. Naomi Watts has been several, and she's also in the upcoming one with Kim Kardashian that he's doing.
One I'm slightly curious about, but I think that might be one to watch without the hubs. I don't think you'll get that.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence with it. Like, I'm intrigued, but I'm like, do I want to invest in this? I don't know. But Sarah Paulson was at least in that trailer. Yeah. Anyway, Sarah Paulson, Sleep with One Eye Open. Paul Kelly, who is a newcomer, will be playing JFK Jr. I couldn't tell you who he is or what he plays on because the articles I found did not have a picture of him. And then Sarah Pigeon will play Karen Bessette Kennedy. Don't know who she is either. Max, do you know who she is?
No. The name's kind of unique as well.
Yeah. Anyways, Naomi Watts is the only name that I recognize from this project. We'll see if we give it a watch.
What's the twist on their love story?
Well, I think the twist on their love story was it was very hot and cold.
Yeah.
And then they were trying to reconcile whenever the accident happened. Like, I think there had been some rough patches, and they were trying to reconcile, and then the accident happened with the air crash. So,
yeah, we shall see.
We shall see. All I'm going to say is I hope that Ryan Murphy sticks the landing more so than JFK Jr. did, but to be determined, because he did not do it in The Swans, as we have said before on this episode of the podcast. The Cannes Film Festival has announced a new dress code for all people who are attending the red carpet. There will be no nudity, and there will be no voluminous dresses to get in front of other patrons who are trying to get in. The first victim of this dress code change was one Oscar-winning Halle Berry, who is serving on the Cannes Film Festival jury committee. Because she had to change her outfit up, she had to scramble for a new dress and ended up coming up in some rather nice but understated Chanel, from what I could tell. Apparently, she was not going the nudity route, which she has done before, but she was in a voluminous train and said that would not work based on the rules. This rule seems to be sparked by the behavior of one Kanye West and Bianca Tesori in other film locations or film festivals, not necessarily at Cannes.
I was going to say it has not been cut. I was like, please, it has been a year, has it?
No, so it wasn't there, but this was sort of a preemptive measure, so it seems. Also coming out today, Natalie Portman looked absolutely stunning in a homage to vintage Dior, as she is the Dior rep. So, listeners, I'm going to recommend you go look that one up. Continuing on our fashion kick, Princess Kate presented the Queen Elizabeth II Award for British Design to Patrick McDonnell this past week. And all I'm going to say is she was in a stunning olive green pantsuit with a wide leg, designed by one Miss Victoria Beckham. Congratulations to you, Posh Spice. You did as well.
Mm-hmm.
This next one. So, Sean Yoon, a cult as I have called them on this podcast before.
I think we both used the C word.
We have both used the C word about this one. Can add child labor abuse to the list of their sins that are going on with that spectacle, for lack of a better word. 2 former members, of which I did not write down their names. One is 32, the other one is 25. Have sued Sean Yoon, alleging that they suffered emotional isolation and psychological abuse while, quote-unquote, working as 13-year-olds for Sean Yoon. Yes. Apparently, according to what was filed in court, 13-year-olds were subjected to 15-hour days, 6 days a week. And I can tell you right now, as someone who works 9-hour days, 5 days a week, with every other Friday off, I would kill a bitch if I was working 15 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm just going to put it out there. Anyways, this is going to be playing out in the New York courts. We'll see what happens. A scandal of it all. And finally, the last little bit of news. There's someone causing a little bit of trouble with body positivity because plastics may not make it all possible. Meghan Trainor, where to start with this one? Where? I don't even know.
Mama. That's what it looks like. My mama. Your mama. My mama taught me.
Well, her mama didn't teach her PR. We're going to put it this way. She has caused outrage at the Wango Tango Festival, which I didn't know was a thing until this.
I don't think it's something somebody made it up and put it on a stage.
Here's the thing.
What say, honey? It's the Wango Tango.
Here's the thing. I remember the Wango Tango from Freaky Friday thinking it was a joke that Lindsay Lohan was making. No, apparently it's a real thing in LA. Anyways, at the Wango Tango Festival...
Sorry, what was the festival again?
Wango Tango. The Wango Tango.
One more time for the people in the nosebleeds.
Wango Tango. Anyways, caused outrage at Wango Tango because the All About That Bass singer decided to change some lyrics. Now, she decided to change the lyrics from, I ain't no size 2... which is, sort of body positivity in that music video because she was a bigger girl with some curves on her. Well... she's had a dramatic weight loss experience. No details as to whether or not it was brought to you by Ozempic or by hard work itself. Doesn't really matter. Congratulations for having the weight loss. Yeah. But in the process of having the weight loss, she's definitely had a boob job. Mm-hmm. A big boob job. Not to put too fine a point. So she changed the lyrics to, as you can see, I've got some new boobs, as opposed to being a size 2. And being very proud about her plastic surgery. At which point, she had a lot of individuals, fans, festival goers, decrying that she has modified a body positivity anthem. So I'm asking you, should she have changed the lyrics? Is it dangerous that she has changed the lyrics? Because it is such a body positivity song. I am going to actually give them that.
Well, yeah, it is tough. I think that She launched, that was her thing. I like Meghan Trainor. I do think she, as I said, I only mock the Yo Mama lyric because it's used in a lot of her songs.
Though I will say the matching toilets in the master bathroom
so
creeps me out.
She's about to spike it as well.
Yes.
I think it's tough because obviously, it's weird because you do, it's not uncommon for people to be launched in the celebrity sphere under a look which they promote as comfortable with, only to shift it.
Right.
Now, the big thing about Meghan Trainor, and I say big ironically, is actually Meghan Trainor's not big, and she never was big. She wasn't, for want of a better word, ever morbidly obese, and then lost a dramatic amount of weight. She, and I will put that onto someone again like Lizzo, who is going through her own body positivity, and when it's with Lizzo, she's always going to be a big girl, Lizzo, or she's not going to be a stick thin bitch. She's going to be a curvy bitch, but I think actually she comes across quite nice. And you can tell just from how her body is that she's going to have some augmentation done just from the way that skin falls. Yeah. But Meghan Trainor was never that big. Yes, she's lost some weight now, and she's probably looking at it. She didn't really need to, but then I don't know what her health situation is, and we don't know what was going on behind the scenes with all that. But yeah, I think if you have got to the weight that you are I want to say decrying, then maybe you need to change it, but maybe you need to change it in a way that that kind of allows the message to remain. But I don't think when you turn around and change the lyric that says, I'm not going to be a size 2.
I've got new boobs.
To I've got new boobs. I can feel like in a moment I can see in her head how that works, but I'm also a little bit like, so you're telling people in the original to be proud of it, but then you're highlighting like gender affirming care.
No, but absolutely. And the thing is, I think it's approachable to have the lyric, as you can see, I'm not a size 2, because a lot of people are not a size 2. And then to turn around and say, and I've got some new boobs, it's a little bit elitist because not everyone can get a brand new pair of boobs.
Yeah.
So I get why there's been some fallout from this.
Yeah, I think there's a tone deafness to it. I can see what she's saying, but I think she should have at least, if she felt disingenuous saying that, and she's got to go through her own, I hate to say this, her own journey with her weight loss and image change. Hey, Birdie, I know you can't leave because you tried to get up the stairs, bud, Birdie. You can't make up the stairs. There he is. So, yeah, I'm... do better, I think is my saying for that one. On that note, I think I need to toilet.
Fair enough.
Should we go together? I've got 2 gold ones matching, sitting next to each other.
Yes, let's hold hands.
Yes. And we're back. And yes, we did hold hands while sitting on the same toilet. It was just unfortunate Daniel was wiping his bottom while doing it. And he wasn't using toilet paper.
Oh, thank you, Max.
And it's a pity that we had to rush back and I didn't have a chance to wash my hands.
Oh, do you need to go wash your hands?
It's okay. I'll just wipe them on my shorts.
Okay.
Anyway, so Daniel, what's been culture for you this week?
Culture for me this week. So it's been a cooking heavy week this week for me. Experimenting with some new dishes. So earlier this week, I made Japanese salmon hibachi bowls with stir fry.
Lovely.
Spot on. And then I also made a vegan breaded tofu to make for other hibachi inspired dishes. So I did a little bit of flour and then dredged it in coconut milk.
Yum.
And then did panko and then just put it right into a wok. So delicious. They did soak overnight with a lot of spices and stuff, but I'm actually rather proud of how they turned out.
Well, I'm good for you.
Yeah. I could have made it a little bit healthier by putting it in the oven, but I didn't do that.
I've tried to do a bit more oven.
But the flavor was just so good.
Yeah, it is the flavor, isn't it?
Because it needs a little bit of something. My drink of the week was a it's called Snowy's Halfies iced coffee. It's a can of iced coffee with half the caffeine in it, so I don't get the jitters whenever I drink it.
Nice.
Which is very nice for anxiety. This week in music, Holiday by Madonna.
Oh, nice.
The entire Gold album by ABBA, not counting that as a musical, but the entire Gold album. Nothing I Needed by Lord Huron was my new listen of the week. Euphoria by Loreen.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. And then Space Oddity by David Bowie.
Nice.
My musical of the week, trying something a little bit out of my normal repertoire, Next to Normal.
I like Next to Normal.
I like it a lot, and I knew the musical beforehand. It's one that I have it on my, list, but I don't always listen to it, and I was like, oh, I could listen to this one a little bit more. I think so. And then my self-care of the week.
Ooh.
I'm highly recommending listeners, if you have a Whole Foods, go to the health section, the little spa section, do a little spa day for yourself, and get a little salt scrub. And just put the salt scrub on while you're in the shower and just scrub your body. You will feel so much lighter. And for me, it's like the thing that will instantly relax me to where I'm just like, oh, I have no anxiety whatsoever. Do it once a week. Should help you.
Nice. Lovely.
How about you? What was culture for you this week?
Well, culture for me, and I think it moves into culture for everyone. So I shall start, say everyone, but only want people that are cool. Food. So I did a tofu, spinach and artichoke bake. We were trying to do something last Sunday. and obviously everyone's in a. So I thought, and that lasted us a couple of nights because I liked that. That was really it. I did a curry a couple of nights ago. It was a very weird week for like food in that sense. But for bars, we took Bug out to Dog Day Social Club, which is near us, near Logan Circle, and it's I don't know. I think a lot of places are doing them now. That they're beer garden dog parks, so it's all contained, so the dogs could go rolling. We've been trying to get them there for a while. We decided to head down. No, it was really nice. It's actually very clean. They do charge $10 to get in for a dog in the week, and it's a bit more at the weekend. But I think Hub said it. I think it stops. It keeps an eye on the flow, because some dogs can be a bit manic. We know that as only as a previously manic dog.
Yes.
Bug was naturally very popular with everyone. He did get humped, sadly, and got a growl. He growled. He went, "Oh, Bug," But obviously, naturally, all the women crowded to him because he's just wonderful. But as a side note, if you are going to these dog parks, do check before you go, because we got there. We didn't see anything up, and we got there. You needed to sign the dog up, and there's a lot of information about it just to keep them safe, and like stuff like vaccination records. So try and do that before, and it'll make your life a lot easier. Movies. I went to see Clown in a Cornfield.
Clown in the Cornfield,
and it's not really made much of an impact, but it's.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, but new doctor and his daughter moved to a town, and there's a serial killer dressed as clowns.
Are they in cornfields?
In cornfields, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all to do with the local industry. It started off a little bit, and I was enjoying it. I was sitting on my own in the cinema, and a group of kids walked in, and then one of them would not shut up until one of his friends said, "Shut up." But I had to kind of take them as part of it. They weren't watching it close enough to get that actually after a while it was very self-aware as a movie, and actually turned out to be excellent. Like, it could be a little bit better in places, a bit tighter, but no, it kind of knew what it was trying to do and trying to throw. It's based on a book, a young adult novel, so I was quite impressed. Music, when I went on my long walk, I did a lot of Pink Floyd, Supertramp, and Led Zeppelin, so I went way back with some of the British shit.
Yeah, you did. And if that was a soundtrack to your 5-hour walk, that was quite a walk, sir. I know exactly what your headspace was then.
Yeah, no, I kind of had to real chill out and step back. So that was kind of it. Yeah, I mean, Pink Floyd, I loved a lot of Pink Floyd. And Supertramp, though, they kept coming up on some... I think I was listening to Arcade Fire, and then it kept coming up, and I was like, okay, I'm listening to the Breakfast in America album, and it was brilliant. So I like doing that. It's something I think everyone should occasionally do. If you hear like a band you like, and some songs keep coming up on a certain album, listen to the whole album. We don't do that as much anymore now.
We don't, and we really should, because there are some hidden gems in some of these albums.
I had a couple. So my television of the week is also culture in a way. Yes. So this is like a hybrid bit, because we didn't really have anything to talk about this week, and we weren't going to force it because everything is going on, and I think it's been it's a news culture week.
Yeah, it's a news week. It's not a culture week. It's a news week.
But no, Andor ended this week. I've been talking about Andor a lot more than I normally would. I always talk about Star Wars, but Andor especially, it just hit the lexicon this week.
Well, like I said, it's made the rounds of like what it is trying to do, and the messaging and the formatting. Like, there has been a lot of discussion.
What was the discussion on the NPR article? Did you see what the angle was on it?
No, to be honest, I just saw that it was on there. And like, okay.
It's been very interesting. I mean, my opener was about and there's been some pushback from the Republicans and voters on it, and the attitude of Star Wars fans has been, you still don't get it, do you?
Yeah.
You're not on the right side of history.
You are the Empire.
Yes, and it is interesting, and there's different things, and actually there's subtle things in it, and spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, but please watch it soon, because it was, for one thing, it was great to be as a lifelong Star Wars fan, to kind of sit there and have Star Wars really back in the lexicon over, Mandalorian, when it came out, was big, but that was also because it was the first TV show, and it was Disney Plus was just launching, so that was quite a big thing at the time. But then like Obi-Wan got good reviews, which was great. And when I enjoyed the first season of Andor, but it wasn't, I'll be honest, my favourite of the Star Wars. I thought Obi-Wan was better. I did really, actually some of the other stuff came out after, but I loved Ahsoka because it was a lot more into, it was a lot more like swashbuckly and sort of thing. But second season of Andor and just the rapid pace in which they're doing stuff, and we had to sit down this week because we had Eurovision on Tuesday, Thursday, and with that, and my mother-in-law getting here tomorrow, we were like, we don't really have catch-up time, so we had like 3-hour blocks each night to watch. But this Andor was just something about it, and I think especially it was interesting. Alex, our friend, had watched the third block of it and gone, oh, is that not it? I was like, no, we've still got the
there are 2 more blocks.
We've still got the lead into it. So it was just so well done. It was so great for it to be discussed, and especially because there had been a gap between the first and second season. There was a 14-minute catch up, but watch that, and then people just online and not like having a go at people unless they ask where the boffins were, and it's like the boffins were for the second Death Star, not the first Death Star,
right?
But people just sort of like, someone would go on some group and go, hey, this character, does anyone know who they are? And they'd be like, yeah, and people go, yeah, like they would piece together the arc, or there was a character in this one who appeared randomly on a Yavin base, and someone's like, no, he was in the prison in the first season, and actually he's in Rogue One. So it's all feeding in and how they get to where they've got to.
Everyone winds up where they are supposed to be.
But there's the actress Clea was an amazing character who was Luthen, who was an art dealer played by Skarsgård, and she was very quiet in the first season, very behind the scenes, and apparently Tony Gilroy, who wrote it, was keeping an eye on her because it was her first acting role out of drama school, and this whole second season it's just been about her. And it's the same with Deirdre Miro, the actress who played her, Mon Mothma. Even is it Nev? There's a couple of other characters. I'm so bad with names, but there's like just how they've built these characters. So for me, it was just excellent. It fed really well in. There's some loose ends of certain characters that, not say loose ends, but they're still alive, and they could still be alive moving forward. So I would love to see because Rogue One ends with the beginning of the Galactic Civil War, and Return of the Jedi is the sort of the first death knell of it, and so you've still got 5 years to go. So I would love if anyone would ever do like an early days of the New Republic, that would be fantastic, and to find out where these characters are and to have them and especially Deirdre, who was left in a really interesting state in regards to her being a member of the Imperial Security and Intelligence. She wasn't in the best. I didn't have the best ending for her, so it'd be interesting to see what next steps she took to get out of her situation, and whether or not she would still be siding with the Empire, or that was enough to shake her belief in the system. But there was a comment in one episode, I don't want to talk about it too long, but she talks about being raised in an Imperial like orphanage, what would be referred to that. And someone did the math and was like, well, look, this is that scene was set 3 years prior to the Battle of Yavin, so 15 years after the Empire. So if she was 3 years old when she got there, that would make her only like 15 or something because of the Empire. And someone points out, no, that was clever dialogue, in that it's very common for people indoctrinated into something to retcon before that. So she was raised in a Republican orphanage, but in her head reworks it to Imperial. So there's loads of little ways.
Yeah, little Easter eggs.
Yeah. And the motivations of how these large organisms penetrate and become a sort of this unescapable mindset. So just on that level, and we've also been looking where it's been filmed, Spain, a lot of it and stuff. So that's been culture. The other show we've been watching, the bigger culture, has been Eurovision.
Yes, Eurovision.
So it's one of those where I'm like, ooh, there's no point me talking about it after. We'll find out who wins it. biggest shock so far upon this has been Australia not getting through to the final with their song Milkshake Man.
Wait, it didn't get through?
Yeah, did you hear that song?
Yes, I knew that song.
Yeah, it didn't get through. And he stripped off halfway through it and went shirtless. I'm
actually a little bit shocked.
Yeah, no, everyone was.
Actually, genuinely shocked.
Graham Norton, who was on the BBC today, because they're all out there, and he said that he saw the rehearsal and loved it, and then he watches, because he only presents the final, they don't do the semis, and he said that actually watching the rehearsal was excellent. Watching it on TV, he felt it outstayed its welcome slightly, and he wonders whether or not
it didn't quite connect.
Yeah. The British one, I was a little bit. I'm whether or not when you're listening to this they would have won. I'd never heard it. I try and stay as with it, and I was quite shocked how theatrical it is. It's very Elton John in places, and I loved it. It took a couple of bars for me to go, what the fuck am I listening to? Oh, I get what they're doing.
I mean, so have you seen the music video for it? So there is a music video for it, and I am sure that the music video version is different than the stage version. I mean, it just has to be. It's natural. So I wonder if it's the Milkshake Man type, not quite connecting the same way, because I listened to it and I understand what you're saying, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's not a number one song.
So here's the thing. They've said they've changed it slightly.
Okay.
They did admit they changed some bars, and even the BBC, who are pretty honest, even though BBC, they help fund it,
right,
have said, this is Scott Mills, who I adore and listen to, and Graham Norton and Conchita Wurst has been on as well, have all said there was a huge difference between the song that they were given and just how they performed it.
Okay.
And even Scott, they had a quick interview of the ladies because when they came off stage, because they're on vocal rest right now, and he said to them, I'm being honest, I think you were giving us like 50-60 before, and then all of a sudden you come out of the park with 100% of a performance.
Good.
So that's interesting. There's some real bangers. Probably music next week. I'll see how I feel at the end of it, because there's been, and one guy was really hot. He's shirtless.
Oh my gosh, a shirtless guy was hot.
But I think he was one of the Middle Eastern countries, and he was just the whole way through it, sweaty and oily. No, who is amazing, and I'll play, is Malta and Serve.
Oh yeah,
have you heard that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one. And
at one point they came out on yoga balls and they were bouncing up and down. She was like trying not to laugh because obviously she knew what she looked like.
Yeah.
And when they won, they got through. I was like, they have to get through.
Yeah.
It's such in.
I was going to say, that one's the one that's had the most hype, I think.
Yeah, and Sweden apparently is the bookie's favourite.
Oh,
and that's the one that's set in the sauna.
Yeah.
Which I liked, but I don't think I would like Malta to win. I think.
Yeah, I would be fine with Malta.
I'll be there tomorrow. I've got all my Union Jack stuff on. I think we can left-hand it, so you don't know left hand, right side. You
want to be on the
left hand side.
Yeah.
But that's been, and I think, and actually what I love about Eurovision is, and it has changed over the last few years, I think, and I hate to say the introduction of social media, but it was viral material waiting for the invention of social media. If you ask me in regards to Eurovision, and you had moments like back in the early 2000s as social media was launching, and I think that's when it's always been popular in England, but it's always been, I feel, in some early years, a bit of a chore. It's that one thing in May you have to sit down and watch. And actually, I feel, for me, it's become part of the culture because it has. There's an evergreen nature of social media now, so it has gone viral in places, and people are connecting to it in different ways. And you're starting now, especially because people are more in control of their careers, they're launching themselves from it. Or like up and coming artists are getting noticed to go into it, like Sam a couple of years back in England, who came second because he was on TikTok, because he went viral, and then he was liked. So I think it has become more of a family. It's been reclaimed, and that's just really exciting.
Well, and I think it's starting, because of the social media, it is starting to matriculate a little bit more into American culture.
Yeah.
To where, we are starting to discover some of these artists and some of these songs as well, which is, I think, a great thing. Because prior, I think we all knew who ABBA was, but ABBA was not big over here in the States.
No.
But that was all Americans really knew of Eurovision.
And not many people know that Celine Dion, who's rumoured, will know if the rumours are true. She's done a message.
Oh, yes.
But she won Eurovision for Sweden.
Yeah.
No, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
And it's not known a lot of that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, there were some big fucking artists, but they don't. Michael Ball performed for England.
Right.
It's very 90s.
Yeah.
Did you have any culture you noticed, Daniel?
No, not really for me. I mean, it was rather weird. I thought we were going to have a tie-in with Meghan Trainor and that Weight Watchers went bankrupt, but I just couldn't find a good angle for that one to come through for culture.
Yeah. I just think Weight Watchers is just such an old...
I'm going to say this as someone who has done Weight Watchers before. The anorexia demons come out on that one. It's not good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I can see why Weight Watchers has gone bankrupt.
I remember watching adverts and people doing, it would be like someone going through their day who didn't need Weight Watchers.
Right.
And it would be like, points.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it to someone, and they themselves did not need to be on Weight Watchers. It was a young girl, and I think her mum had been on it. And her mum didn't need to be fucking on it either. None of them needed to be. They weren't a big family at all. And I was like in a horrible way, but they weren't. There was no... Anyway, and she said, and I said, I noticed like you can have wine on it. I said, yeah, but like wine is like half your day.
Exactly.
Did you ever actually, talking of that though, ever have the Special K diet over here?
Yes. We had the Special K diet where you were supposed to replace 2 meals a day with Special K.
And then have a healthy dinner.
Yeah.
It's been coming up a lot in Britain. And I think...
Really?
It's a new diet and everyone's... No, it's not.
It's not like, what? No.
I don't know why, but I've heard it mentioned on 3 different podcasts now. And I think people are starting to really understand why they're fucked in their heads.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh my God, we were the generation that were told you should eat 2 bowls of cereal a day. Or did someone call it cardboard flavoured rice?
Right.
And that was a healthy diet. And that was broadcast. I wasn't sure whether or not that was a tactic. But no, you could eat that. You could actually eat any Kellogg's cereal. Because actually most of them were but a certain calories.
I mean, they're below a certain calorie. Most of them sort of have the same composition, so to speak. I mean, they're all sort of tasteless.
Do you know why they're called fortified vitamins? Do you know why it says that?
There is health food because Kellogg had a sanatorium. And it was billed as a health...
No, it says fortified vitamins because they don't have them naturally. And that's it. People say, it's got vitamins. No, it's fortified. It means it's been reinforced with vitamins.
It's been coated with them on the way out of the machine.
I tried the Special K diet once. Like on cereal, and within 3 days felt horrible.
Yes, because you are starving yourself on it. It's extreme calorie depletion.
And it wasn't actually even the hungry, because you eat a lot. You eat, like, I just eat a couple of bowls. But it's not a balanced diet.
No, it's not balanced at
all. And I think
I
felt bad because I just knew I wasn't getting the right things into it. It's really bad.
It is horrible for you. I cannot tell you enough. Do not go for any of the fad diets. Don't do the Special K diet. There was also the Snickers bar diet.
Is that where you cut into pieces?
No. So the Snickers bar diet, because I actually knew someone personally who was on this diet, not me, where they essentially did Special K diet, where they replaced 2 meals per day with a Snickers bar.
Was that because it's got peanuts in it?
Yes, for protein. And they would have 2 Snickers bars, and then they would have like a regular dinner. And it's just like, this is not healthy.
No, the Mars bar one was the idea, and actually it's not a Mars bar diet, it was a Mars bar trick in that someone said you cut up a Mars bar, and when you need that sugar. And Mum said they used to do it when she worked Marks and Spencer's headquarters, and she said about 9:30 someone would scream out, "Ate a Mars bar." Which that one, I get that one. If you do have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
But it's just finding a way of...
But it is still so horribly unhealthy for you.
Like, but I like a real chocolatey biscuit, an English one, and so I'm hoping someone come out soon with them. Every so often, but I feel I shouldn't have one. I had one yesterday. You're like, fuck it, it's only like one cookie,
Right.
And but it's weird with the diets. It's about you cannot. the universe balances out. Physics says you cannot have one force without equal opposite opposing force.
Right.
You can starve yourself one day and you'll be fine, and then the next day when you're allowed to eat, you'll be hungry, and you just won't be satisfied. It's all gonna...
Yeah.
Anyway, Daniel, I'm gonna make you dinner. What do you want? Kellogg's cornflakes or some Special K?
Oh, I would like some Special K with the chocolate nibs in it, please.
Well, I can't wait. Shall we move on to the end of the show?
We should.
I don't really have a gags and goops, but I do have this one about Andor.
Oh, didn't see this coming.
Andor is the first TV show ever to have 5 episodes in a row with a 9.5 rating on IMDb.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah,
yes.
No, it's actually that's it.
Wasn't it the last 5 episodes?
Yeah,
all had that? Yeah. All right, my word of the week, which I have in big, big, bold letters right here on my phone because I remembered to do it just right now, is the word quiddling. It means busying oneself with trivial tasks as a way of avoiding the important ones.
Yep, I know what that feels like.
Yep.
Do you have a petticoat lane?
I do have a petticoat lane, and it goes back to walkers and sidewalks. And you know how we generally say don't be walking 2 abreast or 3 abreast or 4 abreast on a sidewalk here in DC? I have a new one for you. Don't be walking on the sidewalk with you, and then in your right hand, out towards traffic, a push cart.
What is this whole side push cart push?
I don't know, but I have ran into at least 3 people who have been doing it. And I'm like, why is this not directly in front of you? Why are you taking up the entire sidewalk, strolling with your push cart?
The other one's where they got to push to the side and they got the baby on the other side.
Yes, I'm like, I don't get it.
I
do not get it.
No.
Like, it is stupidity to the max. Or what's even worse is whenever there is nothing in that push cart. I'm like,
no.
Why is it not in front of you?
Stop wasting our space.
Truly.
And with that, Daniel, do you think we covered everything?
My dear, we barely set the agenda.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a Bearded Bitch production recorded in a Diane Keating podcast studio in Haberdashery.
You've been listening to The Bitches with Beards. I've been Daniel.
And I'm Max. A big thanks to you all for tuning in and giving us a listen. Don't forget to rate, subscribe and review the following on Twitter, X and TikTok, where you can find us at Bitches with Beards.
Please remember that only a mother could love our views and opinions, and they reflect us and no one else.
We'll hear you next week unless we're cancelled. Cheers.